According to the National Electrical Code, often referred to as NEC, there are specific minimum clearance requirements for electrical panels to ensure safety and accessibility for maintenance and repairs. These requirements are designed to provide enough space for electricians to work safely on the energized equipment. The minimum clearance requirements include a working space of at least 36 inches wide and 30 inches deep in front of the electrical panel. This space needs to be clear and unobstructed to allow for safe movement and operation. There must be a clear height of at least 6 feet 6 inches above the electrical panel. This height requirement is to prevent head injuries and allow for comfortable working conditions. No obstructions are allowed within the working space. This means that there should be no doors, pipes, or other objects that could impede access to the panel. In the scenario where a circuit breaker panel is installed behind a 3-foot door in a utility room, there is a potential violation of the NEC clearance requirements. When the door is open, it obstructs the working space in front of the panel. This obstruction reduces the available space and makes it difficult for electricians to safely access and work on the panel. Installing electrical panels behind doors is generally not considered good practice due to this reason. The obstructed working space can create a safety hazard. If an electrician needs to work on the panel while it is energized, the limited space can increase the risk of accidental contact with live parts. This could lead to electric shock or other injuries. In situations where there is no other suitable location for the panel, there are a few possible solutions. Firstly, consider installing a larger door or modifying the door opening to provide the required clearance. This would involve increasing the size of the door or changing its swing to ensure that it does not obstruct the working space when open. Secondly, relocate the electrical panel to a location where it meets the NEC clearance requirements. This may involve moving the panel to a different wall or room where there is sufficient space. Thirdly, install a doorstop or a door closer that prevents the door from swinging fully open and obstructing the working space. This can help to maintain the required clearance even when the door is open. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the best solution for your specific situation. An electrician can assess the available space, identify any potential hazards, and ensure that the electrical panel is installed in accordance with the NEC requirements. Proper installation and maintenance of electrical panels are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of the electrical system. By following the NEC clearance requirements, you can minimize the risk of electrical accidents and ensure that electricians have adequate space to work safely on the panel. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards that covers all aspects of electrical installations. It is updated every 3 years to reflect the latest advancements in technology and safety practices. Adherence to the NEC is essential for ensuring the safety of people and property. The specific sections of the NEC that address electrical panel clearances are primarily found in Article 110.26, which deals with spaces about electrical equipment operating at 600 volts, nominal, or less, and Article 408, which addresses switchboards and panel boards. Article 110.26 provides detailed requirements for working space, including depth of working space, width of working space, and height of working space. It also specifies requirements for access and entrance to working space. Article 408 provides requirements for the installation and construction of switchboards and panel boards, including requirements for location, clearance, and accessibility. When determining the required working space depth, you must consider the voltage to ground Condition 1, Condition 2, and Condition 3. Condition 1 is where there are exposed live parts on one side and no live or grounded parts on the other side of the working space, or where there are exposed live parts on both sides of the working space that are effectively protected by insulation or other means. Condition 2 is where there are exposed live parts on one side and grounded parts on the other side of the working space. Condition 3 is where there are exposed live parts on both sides of the working space that are not effectively protected by insulation or other means. The depth of the working space varies depending on the voltage to ground and the condition. For example, for equipment operating at 150 volts to ground or less, the required working space depth is 3 feet for Condition 1, 3 feet for Condition 2, and 3 feet for Condition 3. For equipment operating at 600 volts to ground, the required working space depth is 3 feet for condition 1, 3.5 feet for condition 2, and 4 feet for condition 3. The width of the working space must be at least 30 inches or the width of the equipment, whichever is greater. The working space must be clear and unobstructed. The height of the working space must be at least 6 feet 6 inches or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. The working space must be clear and unobstructed. Access and entrance to the working space must be provided. The access and entrance must be large enough to allow personnel to safely enter and exit the working space. The access and entrance must be located so that personnel can easily reach the working space. In addition to the general requirements for working space, there are also specific requirements for working space around switchboards and panel boards. Switchboards and panel boards must be located in a dedicated space and protected from damage. The dedicated space must be large enough to allow personnel to safely work on the equipment. The dedicated space must be kept clear and unobstructed. Switchboards and panel boards must be accessible. The access to the equipment must be clear and unobstructed. The access must be large enough to allow personnel to safely enter and exit the equipment. Switchboards and panel boards must be located in a well-ventilated area. The ventilation must be adequate to prevent the equipment from overheating. Switchboards and panel boards must be protected from moisture and corrosion. The equipment must be installed in a dry location and protected from condensation. Switchboards and panel boards must be grounded. The grounding must be adequate to protect personnel from electric shock. Switchboards and panel boards must be labeled. The labeling must be clear and concise and must identify the equipment and its function. It is important to note that these are just the minimum requirements for electrical panel clearances. In some cases, it may be necessary to provide additional clearance to ensure safety and accessibility. It is always best to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the specific clearance requirements for your situation. Furthermore, local codes and regulations may impose stricter requirements than the NEC. It is essential to check with your local building department to ensure compliance with all applicable codes. In addition to the physical space requirements, it is also important to consider the environmental conditions in the area where the electrical panel is installed. The panel should be protected from moisture, dust, and other contaminants that could damage the equipment or create a safety hazard. The panel should also be located in a well-ventilated area to prevent overheating. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical panels. Panels should be inspected periodically for signs of damage, corrosion, or loose connections. Any problems should be corrected promptly by a qualified electrician. Over time, circuit breakers can become worn or damaged. They should be tested regularly to ensure that they are functioning properly. If a circuit breaker trips frequently, it may be a sign that there is a problem with the circuit or the breaker itself. In such cases, it is important to have the circuit and breaker inspected by an electrician. The proper use of personal protective equipment or PPE is also essential when working on or near electrical panels. Electricians should always wear appropriate safety glasses, gloves, and other PPE to protect themselves from electric shock and other hazards. It is also important to follow safe work practices, such as de-energizing circuits before working on them. The NEC provides detailed guidance on safe work practices for electrical installations. Understanding and following the NEC requirements for electrical panel clearances is crucial for ensuring the safety of people and property. By providing adequate working space and maintaining the equipment properly, you can minimize the risk of electrical accidents and ensure that the electrical system operates reliably. The requirements mentioned in the NEC are not just recommendations, they are legally enforceable standards. Failure to comply with these standards can result in fines, penalties, and even legal liability in the event of an accident. Therefore, it is essential to take these requirements seriously and to ensure that all electrical installations are performed in accordance with the NEC. When evaluating the clearance around an electrical panel, it is important to consider the potential for future changes or additions to the electrical system. For example, if you plan to add new circuits or equipment in the future, You will need to ensure that there is adequate space to accommodate these changes. It is often a good idea to provide more clearance than is strictly required by the NEC to allow for future expansion. In addition to the NEC, there are other standards and guidelines that may be relevant to electrical panel installations. For example, the National Fire Protection Association or NFPA publishes a number of standards related to electrical safety, including NFPA 70, which addresses electrical safety in the workplace. These standards provide additional guidance on safe work practices and the use of PPE. Proper documentation is also important for electrical panel installations. The panel should be labeled clearly to identify the circuits and equipment that it serves. A circuit directory should be provided to indicate the purpose of each circuit breaker. This information can be invaluable in the event of an electrical problem or emergency. Furthermore, it is important to keep records of all inspections, maintenance, and repairs performed on the electrical panel. These records can help to track the performance of the equipment and identify any potential problems early on. By maintaining good documentation, you can ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. The location of the electrical panel should be carefully considered. It should be located in a dry, well-ventilated area that is easily accessible. It should not be located in a hazardous location, such as a bathroom or laundry room. The panel should also be protected from physical damage. It should not be located in an area where it could be struck by vehicles or other objects. The panel should be mounted securely to a wall or other support structure. It should be level and plumb. The panel should be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. The panel should be inspected before installation to ensure that it is in good condition. Any damaged or defective panels should be replaced. The wiring connections to the panel should be made carefully and securely. All connections should be tightened to the proper torque. The wiring should be protected from damage. It should be run in conduit or other approved raceway. The wiring should be labeled clearly to identify the circuits that it serves. The panel should be grounded properly. The grounding should be connected to the building's grounding system. The grounding should be inspected regularly to ensure that it is in good condition. The panel should be tested after installation to ensure that it is functioning properly. The testing should be performed by a qualified electrician. The testing should include a visual inspection, a continuity test, and a voltage test. The panel should be maintained regularly. The maintenance should include cleaning, tightening connections, and testing circuit breakers. The maintenance should be performed by a qualified electrician. The electrical panel is a critical component of the electrical system. It is important to ensure that it is installed and maintained properly. By following the NEC requirements and other applicable standards, you can minimize the risk of electrical accidents and ensure that the electrical system operates reliably.